Hey, it's Tom Casey coming at you today talking about split systems. What are split systems? Split systems is the most common term to describe the type of system that's probably in your house. Split system, just like the name says, is a split where there's a section inside and a section outside. The three most common types are a heat pump outside and an air handling unit inside, or an AC only that does only cooling on the outside with an air handler inside, or an AC unit outside with a furnace that burns gas or propane or oil with a cooling coil that sits on top of it on the inside. So the heat pump system usually has two sections, the air handling unit inside, the heat pump outside, the AC only, air handling unit inside, heat pump outside, and the furnace system has two components inside, the furnace and the evaporator coil with the AC outside. This is important to know because when it comes time to upgrade your system, whether you have type 1, 2, or 3, you've got to make sure the components all match. Now, when there's a split system with only two things, it's really simple. If you replace one of the components, you should replace the other component in order to be able to comply with code, which requires a matched system. And the matched system is done by a laboratory. The initials are AHRI. It's an acronym that basically says these are the guys who test all the combinations to verify that what you get sold, efficiency, capacity, etc., has been scientifically tested in a laboratory so you're assured you're getting it. If you don't have a listed and matched system, generally it's impossible to pull a building permit. So if anyone's ever telling you, oh, don't worry about that, that should raise a flag that says maybe they're not going to do things properly and pull a permit. So on a heat pump system, we need to change the outdoor unit and the indoor unit in order to ensure we have a match. Now, if it's a newer system, it may be possible that there's some match still available, but 80-20, it's got to change both pieces when it's time to upgrade a system. The same thing for an air conditioning system. You got to change the indoor unit, then you probably got to change the outdoor unit. You got to change the outdoor unit, you got to change the indoor unit. On a furnace where there's three components, the air conditioning system consists of the outdoor unit and the evaporator coil. So at the bare minimum, you have to change both of those pieces. But again, depending on code and the jurisdiction, the county or the city may require you to have what's called a listed system. In order to get a listed system, it has to be rated by AHRI. And that normally, more than 90% of the time, requires that the fan or the blower be part of that rating. And if you don't change the furnace, you can't get the rating. So really important, first takeaway, you have to have matching components in order to get a rating that will allow your system to be permitted legally, means your system and your installation in your house is legal. And if you don't do that, then you have an illegal situation, and it's going to come back and bite you later with home inspection report, fines from the county, lots of bad things happen. Now, the second takeaway of this is sometimes systems are old enough where there's different refrigerants. So the old refrigerant, which was the standard for heating and cooling, was refrigerant 22. Sometimes you'll hear us say R22. That refrigerant is no longer available in terms of being manufactured and supplied with new systems. For quite a while now, the new refrigerant has been R410A. R410A is a completely different refrigerant, runs at different pressures, it's a different chemical composition, uses different oil to lubricate the insides of the system to keep them from failing. And because there's such different animals, literally night and day from each other, you can't mix and match components with refrigerants that don't match. So, for example, if you had an old R22 air handling unit, it's in great shape, it still works, everything's functional, you can't put an R410A condensing unit outside, a heat pump or an air conditioner outside, and connect it to it because they're incompatible. And the result will be anyone's guess. It's unpredictable. And so it can't be rated, it can't be permitted, it can't be installed legally, and it's going to use tons more energy and not even work properly. And oh, by the way, it's going to cost more money because when you do two things separately, it costs more than doing them all together as a package. And it's going to put more stress on the new thing. So if you hook a new heat pump to an old air handling unit, it's going to stress out your new heat pump and cause it to not last as long. So that's the situation. That's the facts about split systems. That's what you need to know. Boom.